I also mentioned that in late mid 2012, July I think, I had to release part of myself to replace the missing source field. With the male original first being dead, male and female, the field vanished. It was part of the original male. This is Aura. And that gives you an idea of how big the original first being male was. He made up the source field. Now it's Aura. And I think myself, but I'm not sure. Well, I mean, I think it's everyone, but me and Aura are so big that, Aura's so big that he said Aura, and I think I am as well. So, yeah. But I think it does. I think it's everyone. If I'm wrong, I will put a clarification below. You know, I say a lot of ignorant things. If anyone wants to correct me, please do, and I will correct it immediately. I replaced my own spirit to replace it. So this is J. Aura. Releasing his spirit, Aura. I released my own spirit to replace it. Aramelius would attack and try to absorb it. I would take it back in, fix it, and send it back out. This went on for over a month until I managed to delete enough of Aramelius, keeping him from being able to do so. Then he was deleted also. Since then, this new source field has grown and developed on its own as itself. Aramelius is a being that came off Armelius, and Armelius came from the original first being's cleaned energy. And Aura came from Aramelius. Aura was the strongest focal point of Aramelius, which was released and became Aura. So, he's the strongest thing that came from those parts of the original first being's cleaned energy. Although I'm now looking at new information about how I came off another part of the original first. A part of me came off. A big part of me came off another part of the original first being's cleaned energy that Aura hasn't mentioned in his books. When I'm more aware, I can go back and see what happened with that. It is literally a part of me, yet has its separate consciousness. And now I'm wondering if I'm fighting anything else, something new. I mean, something I haven't heard of, or a part of me knows that it exists, but here I'm not aware of that part of myself that might be dealing with it now, or just waiting for this part of me to get involved as part of my life path, maybe. That's just a possibility, So there's a new source field, comes from Aura, has grown and developed on its own as itself. It is literally a part of me, yet has its separate consciousness. It is an appendage with its own mind. That part of me does not have my conscious mind with it. My true self, spirit, flows through it, but the field is not attached to my conscious mind with all its feelings, fears, emotions, thoughts, etc. Once I explain how the base energy field works, you will understand the necessity for the crown filter above and surrounding your head. Early in my fighting with the original first being, male and female, what others have called God, but was only another being, the source of our origin, the male went into my brain while I slept and transmutated part of my brain. I woke that next morning with no understanding of who I was. My spirit animal guides told me that everything was okay and to try to relax, try to remember. So they saw Ara as a threat for a long time, and while he was having a life, I think this was around 2011, 2012, I think it was 2012, they damaged a part of his brain, and like he says here, he looked in the mirror, he didn't know who he was, but his spirit guides advised him to just relax, and he picked up that relaxation and harmonized with it, all the way to healing his brain. Like me, he carries dragon energy. In fact, he was the first dragon. So he regenerates quickly. I remember him saying about dragon's breath. That's what dragon's breath was known for, regeneration. About an hour later, I was self-aware again, but way past foggy. About an hour later, I was self-aware again, but way past foggy. It took a day to remember what was going on and 2 days to be able to attempt focusing on anything. 4 days later, I was back attacking as best as I could, but I couldn't focus on my target, the original first being, male and female. This is why he did it. So he damaged the original first being, male, damaged that part of Ara's brain so that he could no longer target them wherever they were. So it reminds me to take care of my brain. Like I need reminding. The day before I was attacked, they realized I could see them and they couldn't see me. The female was surprised and said, "Look how strong he's gotten so quick." The male said nothing back, but his thoughts in his head said, "I'll fix that tonight." Well, he didn't sound like the Terminator, but he was the classic, in School of Rock. He talks about the man. That's the original first being. That one's been playing in my head for years. And it's a horror show, but I find it hilarious. Normally I could do the impression, but I can't right now. Where he says the world is run by the man. Kidnap, Shamu, put him in a chlorine tank. That's the original first being. That's his influence on the world. But the world isn't run by the man anymore. Over time, that all went away. For the most part, I was able to see deeper and with more depth of understanding as my field energy grew. Everyone imaginable on the other side has painfully, mine not theirs, tried to fix this brain but never could. It slowed me down a few months, but that's all. So everyone on the other side tried to fix it, but they couldn't. eventually it must have just recovered on its own. I find that strange. I'm not sure that's true. I think Lily could have fixed it, but she didn't for some reason. Then again, I always underestimate Ara's understanding, and that's because I never got to know him. But I do my best. That was him. That was Ara. Keeps telling me, do your best. I will. All that I've just written was necessary for me to describe the field, who it is, what it is, and that it's independently sentient. It's that part of me that continues to feed me parts of the information you're now receiving. My body is almost dead now, can't wait to get home. The field part of me, this was in 2018 that he wanted to get home. I think, he's home now. 11/11. The field part of me has been slowly destroying this body since my last event in Atlanta at September's end 2015. This is another thing I didn't understand. For some reason, his body had to die slowly and painfully on his way out. Well, not painfully, maybe. Okay. Yeah. Still, for some reason, his body had to die slowly. And I came up with an argument. There's a video I made called JR's Body, where I made the argument. His body didn't need to wither away. You could just take care of his body, and then when it's time, he can just go. It seems very simple to me, but I think there's some information that I'm missing. But it doesn't matter now. I don't think. As he is self-sentient, I feel the need to thank him for filling in the gaps when I need it, as well as bringing new material to my attention. When this body finally drops a few weeks from now, I'll pass out into the field, which will then reside within me, Ara. If I read these words 15 years ago, I would say, man, this guy is an arrogant nutjob. As I continue to awaken through the continuation of their use, I learn to accept my abilities as being real, especially from the ICUCs. The continuous fighting led to a massive increase in power and understanding. My spirit energy has mutated 3 times this life. So after that, you might say he's the most powerful being ever.